Okay, happy Friday. Glenn Stein, Realty Executives here in the Villages. September 17th. September 17th already. Time has flown, and we're going to talk about appraisals. We're going to talk about extensions in your contracts for people that are going to be writing contracts, something to think about. So, extension of closing dates. We're going to talk about 7-day numbers. We're going to talk about how much inventory we've got. In fact, that's what we're going to start off with. We're going to start off with how much inventory we've got right now. And we are looking at, let's see, we've got 70, you're looking at 71 properties on the market. It's a little bit down from last week. So we've seen, ebbs and flows. We've seen going down to 48 to now we're now 71 properties on the marketplace. And what we're seeing is when I'm talking to my agents, we're seeing a lot of movement back and forth. A lot of properties are coming on the market. In fact, this past Wednesday, we typically have our Wednesday caravans on Wednesday mornings. I think we had 6 properties on caravan, which is pretty solid number, meaning 6 new properties that have come on the marketplace that people want to take a look at ourselves within the company. And that's pretty good, right? We're seeing enough inventory come on the market, but it's not sitting on the market where it's accumulating. So that's why we're seeing still lower numbers compared to what we've seen in the past, of course. Back and if you're new to the show, I've talked. You don't know that I've talked about inventory in the past where we've been in the 400s, and that was a normal marketplace. And now we're talking about being in the 70s. And I think that's pretty much where we've been over the last several months. If you look at the averages, we've been in the 70s mostly. I think we peaked at like upper 80s, and then one week we're in the upper 60s, but mostly in the 70 range as far as properties available. Most of the properties, one thing I am hearing on a negative note, look, prices are going up and a lot of people being priced out. So that is happening, unfortunately. But something that could be a slight deterrent to prices going up are appraisals. So we're seeing a lot of people either go through either conventional or VA financing, which we've talked about in the past. And if you have questions about that, let me know. But with appraisals, the one thing I want you to know, like if you're planning on buying, and it doesn't have to be in the Villages, it can be anywhere in the Villages, whether it's close to Spanish Springs or Sumter Landing or brownwood or wherever you're planning on buying. It can be in Florida, by the way, because this is a Florida thing, in many states around the country, but specifically here in Florida. If you are going to do financing and you're worried about a home appraising, and you do want to make it contingent upon an appraisal where you can get your money back, you need to do an appraisal addendum. There is such a thing. So ask your realtor in Florida to get that appraisal addendum out so you can make it contingent upon an appraisal. Now, if you are competing against multiple offers, that could be a challenge. So understand the market that you're in, understand the competition, understand how long a home has been on the market, whether it's been on the market for one day, or in this marketplace, if you're on the market for more than 2 to 3 weeks, that's like forever. That's like, wow, it's incredible. So make sure that you are protected. That way you understand that if you don't have this appraisal addendum, and yes, it could be contingent upon financing, but may not be contingent upon an appraisal, meaning that if you are bringing enough money down, then financing may still occur even though the home doesn't appraise. So really understand the difference between writing up an offer and having a contract that is contingent upon financing and or contingent upon an appraisal. So there's going to be some differences there. So watch out for that. The other thing that you also need to look at in the contract, whether it's as is or non as is, which is otherwise known as the FAR contract, you're going to see there are 2 boxes. One box will say cash and or it's not contingent upon financing. And then the next box will see this contract is contingent upon financing. First box, a lot of people think, and this is maybe more for the seller standpoint, that just because it says that it says cash doesn't mean it's going to be cash. It just means cash, or it could be not contingent upon financing, meaning the buyer could do a home equity line of credit. They could do regular financing for that matter. But the contract's not contingent upon them obtaining financing, meaning that if they didn't get financing, they would have the option of using cash, or if they couldn't do it, then they would relinquish their rights to their escrow money that they're putting in, not to be confused with down payment money, two different things. So if you have questions about that, let me know. But when you're putting in an offer in Florida, make sure that you understand the whole appraisal contingency, understand the differences between making a contract contingent upon financing versus not. Why would you want to do that if you're a buyer? Well, the only reason why you would want to do that, knowing that you could either pay cash, but you're not going to want to use your cash and take advantage of the low interest rates, or you may not be worried about financing at all, so you're just going to do it, and you're not worried about being denied, and you're trying to make a cleaner contract, or a contract, an offer that's going to be, it just looks more appealing to the seller. So just understand that. And also on the seller side, I've seen it where they're confused, and I've seen sellers get upset because the buyer is doing financing and they thought it was cash. So understand those differences. The next thing I want to bring up to you is the whole thing about extensions of, not hair extensions. I don't know anything about that. I don't have any hair. Really about extension of closing dates. So when we're talking about the extension of closing dates, sometimes for whatever reason, you need more time. And by the way, this could be a thing that could come about, could be extension of financing time. May need more time to do that, may need more time to do a home inspection or a termite inspection, for whatever reason. Or there might be more time that's needed because maybe there's a little bit of mystery or ambiguity behind what the home inspector says about a home, and some other inspectors need to look at the property, maybe a roof or a pool or electrician or whatever. Then more time may be needed. But more specifically, if you are needing an extension of a closing date, usually because of financing, because financing is taking a little bit longer than we thought, then you would, your buyer's agent that's a realtor that's representing the buyer, would put together an addendum that would extend the closing date. So let's say we wanted to close on Monday, which would be, where are we, 18th, 19th, 20th, the 20th of September, let's say, and you know what, that's not going to happen. You need another week, so you're going to close on the 27th of September. You would simply put in a blank addendum that buyer and seller both agree that the contract shall be extended. A new closing date shall be September 27th, 2021. However, if that's the only thing that you want to extend is the closing date, and you don't have any other issues, then it's no big deal. But remember that if you do want some other things to be extended, some other timelines, inspection timelines or something else, you must specify that along with the extension of closing date time period. So make sure that your realtor is being really, really specific. Clarity is queen. And attorney, if you were to talk to an attorney, they'll say the same thing. They'll say, well, yep, make it clear. That way there's no ambiguity in your agreement, in your offer. So this is not just for the villages. This is all of Florida. And by the way, probably the whole country. Make sure you're really, really clear. So once again, 71 properties on the market. And I'm going to tell you some things about that in a minute. Looking at the 7-day numbers, 26 new listings, 1 price increase, price decrease is 10. So obviously that's not a high number, but probably a normal number. People adjusting to maybe trying to push the envelope. A lot of sellers are pushing the envelope on price. Sold or closed, 44. 2 properties expired, which is a little bit new. And 45 under contract, new under contract. Last 7 days, 45 pending properties. So pretty brisk market, looks like a very late summer market to me, very typical. The inventory number is obviously different because we're not used to seeing those kind of numbers. But ultimately, I'm going to tell you this. It looks like we've plateaued a bit on price on many different types of properties, but inventory being light tells me that there is still some room for price increasing, and we're seeing that in certain elements, specifically here in the villages. And it doesn't matter what square you're near, but more specifically, if you got some privacy, golf course view, pond view, any preserve view, that type of thing is a premium. Golf cart garage is always a thing, and a little bit more space. We actually during Caravan saw, and I don't remember the address, very unique property, had 4 bedrooms and a den, very unique here in the villages. So keep in mind that there are some things I want you to look at. Two things I want the takeaways for today. Number one is the market is proceeding very consistently over the last couple of months. That's the first story. Interest rates being low. They're not the lowest they've ever been, but they're darn low. So I think that's also helping to drive the market. And we're still seeing more buyers than sellers for sure, but we're seeing a healthy amount of listings come on the market. I would say this: if you are in the mode of buying, go ahead and buy. Don't be discouraged. Don't predict that there's going to be a market crash. I don't see that happening. I mean, I could be wrong, and I'll be the first one to admit it, by the way. If that happens, I'll just admit it. I'll tell you I was wrong, but I don't see that happening at this point. So I don't see prices coming down dramatically. So that's a thing there. And then number two is make sure that you are as educated. I would say this: have your realtor, have your agent send you a copy of the contract so you can be really familiar with it in advance. Get familiar with your sales contract so that way when it's time to make an offer really quickly, it won't take you a day. Let me review, let me read what it says. No, get familiar with it now so you're comfortable with the lingo and the verbiage that's going to be necessary to put in a solid offer and a contract so you can win. That's my message for today. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Glenn. If you have questions, I'm the broker here, owner of Realty Executives in the villages and also in Ocala. I've been actually started this company back in 2004. A little bit about me. And my heart is to help my realtors and agents just win in a big way. So also visit our website, Buy Sell the Villages, if you're interested in shopping around and looking around at what's going on in the market. Call me with questions, 352-572-3796, 352-572-3796. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. Leave a few comments. If you have some comments or questions, just let me know. Upcoming, we've got a couple of really good guests. I've got some community interest, community features coming up. Some people have done some interesting things in the community. And we're going to have Cliff Weiner come back from the POA because in about, next week? I think he's coming back next week. This is when we're doing this, I believe, week or two, where I think we're going to have some answers on the whole EMT situation. So that's coming up this week. So hope everybody has a great weekend. Take care.